Hello and welcome back to Pop Therapy. As you've just heard, I'm sitting here with my beautiful friend Lola Berry. Lola, welcome back to the pod.
The listeners don't know this, but we have just had a big goss session and catch up. And so it's so nice to hear your voice and see your face after seeing you in the flesh, 2 months ago?
Yeah, I was there in February.
Well, I vote for you to get back.
About 2 months. Yeah, look, it's not far off. I think LA it was just too good. We had so much fun. We did some really special things when I was there, including, so for those of you who don't know, both Lola and I have a slight obsession with Elvis Presley. We have that in common, and we went to the screening of the Baz Luhrmann brand new kind of documentary about his life, all of this unearthed footage that has never been seen before, concert footage behind the scenes. And Baz himself was there doing a Q&A afterwards. And I have to say that was one of the most emotional nights of my life. And I'm so glad I did it with you.
Yeah, I was going to say I'm so glad that you were emotional as well, because for me, as soon as they started playing Suspicious Minds and he's in his all blue, and it's towards the end, I was just like, water works. I could
sobbing.
We love him. He's the reason I've got black hair, literally.
I love it. Yeah. And for those who don't know, what that means is, so Elvis was quite a sandy blonde, and he had these beautiful blue eyes like our friend Lola here, and he grew up in the era of Tony Curtis and all the stars who would dye their hair black so that their blue eyes would pop on screen. And I guess the tradition continues through you.
Oh, I love it. Do you know what initially, so I did it when I saw Austin Butler play Elvis, and I was like, well, he's a blondie too.
Yes.
And then obviously doing some research on Elvis, I was like, hang on a sec, I might be able to do this. And for blondies that ever come to LA, hot tip, getting your hair foiled in Los Angeles as a blonde is so expensive. Probably $1,500. It's so expensive. Yeah. And that doesn't include the blow wave and the tip. Whereas I go to an all-natural dye bar salon and I get it done, I get it blow wave, get it done my blue-black colour, and it's $120. I love it.
Oh, my God.
So it's also very economical.
Wild. I'm so surprised that blondes are so expensive because they're a dime a dozen over there.
So expensive.
Wow.
So expensive. I was flying back to Australia and timing my time in Australia with my hairdresser, and I was like, I got to stop this. And then I just gradually went darker and darker and darker. And then I was like, okay, now I can just go black. Great.
Love
Elvis
it.
time. Yeah.
Love it. Well, you've been on some red carpets and you've been doing some really cool things, and your eyes have been popping. So I think it's working.
Mate, one other tip for anyone in LA, or you come to LA for a friend's birthday, or we've just had Stagecoach and Coachella. There's this online app called Glam Squad. Have you heard of it?
Oh, no.
Oh, you should do this when you do LA pods. They come to your hotel and do your hair. You get a hairstylist, you get a makeup artist, and it's really cheap, super cheap. And you can just get your hair blow waved, or you can just get your makeup done. You don't have to get it all. And that's the trick to doing a red carpet in LA is you use this thing called Glam Squad, and it's super cheap and
so good.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So it's cheaper to get someone to come to your hotel room and do your hair and makeup than to dye your hair blonde.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Wow.
Oh my goodness. 1,000%. It's $120 to go to the salon and get it dyed black. And then anytime I have a big event, definitely don't do it all the time. It's a treat, but it's about $120 to get full glam done, full hair, full makeup. Yeah.
Amazing.
How good's that?
Wow.
It's a hack. Yeah.
Hot tip. So you've got a lot of LA hacks, and for people that may not know, you were actually on the pod in 2021. I feel like it was a couple of years ago, but it was 5 years ago. And it was after your book, Fearlessly Failing, had been released. I think it had been published that year. And you were just then already starting to, I think, were you already spending time in LA at that point?
Yeah. I was pretty much half LA, half Byron Bay. That was kind of my life until Matt got his visa. I was kind of doing a very like split the year, which was fun. It is just hard when you're trying to build momentum in one territory and then you literally move to the other side of the world and then you have to build that momentum again and then you leave for a long period of time. We're kind of finding that the sweet spot is kind of like being based here and then going back to Australia for like a month a year or like Christmas time and so that you don't lose any of that American momentum if your goal is to have a career over here, of course.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people would look at what you're doing with a little bit of envy because so many people dream of following their dreams and maybe they've got secret passions or they've got hobbies that they would secretly love to turn into a career but don't necessarily have the courage to do it. And we were talking about this a little bit before that a lot of people also feel like we've got an expiration date. And if I'm like, I heard someone talking the other day and they're like, I'm turning 30 soon. You know, I can't, there's no way I can do that now. I'm almost 30. And I'm thinking like, wow, we can't think like that. And I feel like you don't put those self-limiting beliefs on yourself and you've been so incredible at just throwing yourself into the fire and trying new things. I mean, if people will have heard your, long list of titles and all of the things that you have done and do, and, you've never kind of stuck into one lane and just said, this is what I'm, this is me and that's it. And I'm just kind of, you're constantly like, looks like you are constantly striving to grow and try new things and follow your dreams. So how do you do it, Lola Berry? How can we all get a little bit of your magic?
It's funny when you were like, people would be envious. I'm like, I don't know how, because it is like, yes, I am someone that's changed career. Like the most common thing that podcasters say to me when I go on them is it's so strange to change careers later in life. And I'm like, shivers, I'm not that old.
Exactly.
I don't feel old, but obviously I had a whole career in the health, wellness, nutrition and like cookery book space for many, many years. Like my first one came out when I was 23 and the last one I wrote was in 2021 and I would have been like 37 or something, 36 then. And so I'm 40 now, so I hope I did that math okay. But it like that was my life for so long. But I remember working with a therapist. I know you and I are so passionate about mental health. And I was working with a therapist and I said to us sitting in a session with him and I was like, I think I'm living my backup career. And he goes, what do you mean? I was like, my dream's to be an actor. Like I've always wanted to be an actor. That's what I've done out of high school and theatre studies. And he goes, okay, cool. Well, you better get into an acting class then. And I was 31 and I called up an acting school actually under the guise where I thought, no, I'll do TV presenting because that's kind of, I was doing like nutrition and cooking on TV and stuff. I was like, that's kind of like the lane I'm in. And they were like, it's full. The class is full. Why don't you do acting class? And I was like, I would rather swim with sharks. That was my response. And they go, well, that's a great sign. And I've never looked back. Like I love acting, but I've also learned that like I shot a pilot last year. It came out at South by Southwest in Texas this year in April, and that's a full year. Like I shot it in April. It came out 12 months later. It hasn't been sold yet. It probably will get sold, but like I'm like, whoa, that's another year. Like, and I quickly learned that like as a creative, I can't rely on one like job. Like I have to be constantly doing creative things, whether it's writing books, whether it's podcasting, whether it's acting and auditioning, like for me, I'm like, as long as I'm doing something creative, I'm going to feel good and feel okay. And that's like a huge part of who I am. But the never too old stuff, I kind of want to deep dive that a bit. Can I?
Yes, let's do it.
Okay, so I was 32 years old, I was on a flight from Sydney to Perth, and I was going to Perth to do a speaking event. And this American guy, who I believe was like 3 years older than me, 4 years older than me, was chatting to me on the plane. And I have my whole life have never been able to know if someone's flirting with me. I just think they're being nice and super naive. And halfway through us chit-chatting, and the flight to Perth is long. It's like 4.5 hours or something. He was like, how old are you? And I was like, I'm 32. And he said, well, you'll be invisible in 3 years. And I said, excuse me? And he's like, oh, women at 35 are invisible. And I was like, you're talking to the wrong girl, sir.
Yes.
And then when I got off the plane and was at the luggage carousel, he walked over and handed me his card, like gave me his number. And I was like, that is like such a backhanded way to like hit on someone. Anyway, fair to say I never went on a date with that douche magoosh. But my point is, I was like, why on earth are women told that by a certain age they become invisible? And then the other thing I wanted to chat about, I was 35, I was in an acting class, and I ran into an old school friend. So we'd gone through high school together, and we're both actors. And I saw her at this class, didn't expect to see her. And I was like, oh my God, how are you? What are you doing? And we were in the same class, and she's like, what are you doing? And I was like, oh, well, I go to LA in 2 weeks. Like I live there. And she's like, oh, but you're 35. And I go, what? And she goes, you're too old to make it.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, I can't really afford to think like that or live like that. And I told an actor mentor here that story. And he said to me, she will live to those limitations. You don't have to live to those limitations. And so it was so nice for someone to kind of like shake that out of me pretty quickly. But I still remember it. I still remember it like very vividly. And it's like, why can't people just be kind and like happy for each other and celebrate one another? That to me is wild.
Yes. But like one of the greatest success stories in acting is George Clooney, and he didn't get like a breakout role till he was 40 or 50, like 40 something, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was like 42 in ER. You're talking about ER when he was in ER? Which is now The Pit, the same showrunners. It's crazy. Yeah.
So like it is wild to me. But, for years that has been kind of the common idea that there are no roles for women over 40, and that's changing. There's no, women don't get seen on the streets after 40. Like I didn't hear 35, but definitely I thought it was like a an after 40 kind of old wives' tale. But I feel like that is changing. I feel like women are only just stepping into their power in their 40s and doing the best things in their life in their 40s. So I find this age thing really interesting. And, to hear a 29-year-old saying to me, like, I could never do that because I'm about to be 30, I'm like, my God, I've got 14 years on you and I'm still trying new things. And, I just don't think we should ever let age limit
also
us.
think, tell me if you agree, I think the 30s, like the decade of the 30s, which I've just come out of, it is like the crash out decade. Like you're going through friendship breakups, you're probably going through like epic loves or having kids or not having kids, or like even going through the IVF thing was like a huge thing for me. It was like the crash out era of like every like drama in my life felt like it had stakes. And so I think, and I said this to my partner, Matt, I was like, I actually feel like you don't even really know your stuff until 40.
Totally.
Right?
Like totally. We don't know who we are. Like there's so much shift in identity in I feel like you were saying in the 30s, and even still in my 40s, I feel like I'm still kind of, finding my feet in terms of like who I can be in this world and how I can show up in relationships and friendships and like boundaries and, all of the things that were so much more difficult for me in my 20s and my 30s. And now I'm feeling much more confident to kind of enact. And I just feel like this is the beginning of some really exciting times as opposed to like the winding down,
Isn't there a really beautiful Carl Jung quote, and it's like up until 40 it's all a rehearsal.
Yes.
There's something, or like it's all preparation. And then at 40,
Yes.
life begins. And I was like,
Yes.
that resonates with
Love
me. I
that.
think that's
Yeah.
very empowering. And yeah, I really like it. I mean, I'm also for looking young and doing all the things to make you feel like you feel confident. And you know, you and I were hiking, talking about our skincare routines in LA. And, you know, like I'm all about doing the stuff that makes you feel vital and strong.
Yes.
And like love the way you look and feel and move and all that kind of thing. But yeah, I think like the wisdom that comes with being in, and I've actually sort of had a few combos with my partner Matt where I'm like, shivers, like I'm outgrowing friendships really quickly too.
Yes.
And there's usually a bit of a age gap, and I'm like, shit, like I don't know if it's like my boundaries are just getting so clear, or I'm getting really attuned to like, that didn't feel good. I don't need to keep exposing myself to it. Whereas in my 30s, I would probably think that there's something wrong with me and keep doing the thing.
Yes, that is such an interesting way of looking at it, because it's so true. And I think friendships ending is a really tough one, particularly for women. I think like we hang in there with friendships sometimes a little bit longer maybe than we should. And I know sometimes, you know, there's all that the kind of idea around we have people in our lives for a reason, a season or a lifetime. And I think there's nothing wrong with that, you know, and sometimes we hang on to friendships out of this kind of blind sense of loyalty, like maybe we've been friends for a long time, so we need to overlook kind of bad behavior and, you know, things that feel out of alignment. But again, this is something I'm personally experiencing that I feel like, no, I think it's okay to walk away from things that don't feel good anymore, you know.
I think you got to.
Yeah.
Like, I think you got to. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but like, I think like if stuff feels funky and it feels funky for like a certain amount, I always think give yourself a time. I'm a Virgo. I got 4 Virgos in my chart, so I'm like quite a list kind of person. But if something feels off, I'll be like, okay, I'm clocking that. That hurt me. That feels off. And I'll clock it and I'll kind of keep a tally, and I'm like, okay, that hurt again. Oh, okay, that's a couple of times. And I'll like give it a fair amount to feel. Yeah. But for me, it's been a big lesson and like loads of therapy work around letting go of needing to be liked and needing to be a people pleaser. And it's been liberating, but it's also been very hard to let go of that part of myself as well, because I've got a lot of like validation tied up in that, and, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's a big reflex for everybody. Well, for a lot of people, that people-pleasing thing is so strong and really, really hard to let go of. But also that's one of the other things that really impresses me about you. Like you really do the work. You dive in. You're not afraid to kind of try all the things to get yourself to the place that you know is going to be the healthier place for you, where most of us will put our head in the sand and bury it for as long as possible. Maybe people go to a few sessions of therapy and, you know, think they've got it and move on, and that's kind of it. But you do the work, girl.
Oh, I'm obsessed with doing the, like, I am obsessed. Like, I've been with my therapist for, I reckon, a decade now, and we go every 2 weeks. And, like, at the end of a session sometimes, because we know each other so well, like, he'll be like, you put me through my paces today, Lola. And he's also a hypnotherapist, so some sessions become hypno and some sessions become more like traditional therapy. But the thing that I've done recently that has actually been one of the hardest things that I have like put off for honestly years is I have committed to daily meditation. And I'm at like, I counted today, I'm at 43 days straight or something.
Wow.
And I feel like there's all these beautiful things that come from meditation, like you feel clear, you feel calm, you feel less reactive, you feel like you can process things. There's these beautiful things that and it helps you let go of stuff quickly, but there's like hard stuff that comes from it. You're cracking your heart open all the time. You're more sensitive to people's energies and like their underlying energy too, not just like what's being said.
Yeah.
And you almost feel not to say like psychic, but you feel like you can feel the essence of people clearer. And when it's off, you're like, how was I wrong about that? Like it's, and so I would say like meditation's been great, but it's like not easy.
Yeah. Do you know, this is really interesting. This ties in with our friend David the Medium, who you beautifully connected me with on our hike in Runyon Canyon. You're like, you know who you should actually
He's great.
do a pod
well,
with?
and he also loves a little bit of pop culture like yourself.
Absolutely, exactly. And we've just been texting, I think, from his plane about the Real Housewives, or sorry, Ladies of London.
I bet you have. Yeah, because he's on his way to London right now.
Yes. Love him. He's been like a great addition to our life, my life. But what I was going to say is I feel like as well, and this is a conversation I'm having with a few friends at the moment who are a little bit woo-woo inclined, I feel like as well the older we get, the more kind of in tune, or the more, I don't know, it's almost like there's a leveling up that is on offer. And you can take it, you can ignore it, you can maybe not even be aware of it. But if you're kind of a little bit spiritual or in that realm a little bit as well, I feel like there's almost like a portal that opens up to a whole other realm in this age. And sorry, guys, this may be getting a little bit woo-woo here, but like I truly believe there's something in me at the moment that's really calling me to lean into all of that in a way that is bigger than it ever has been before. I feel like there's something that I need to explore there in a much bigger way. And like you were talking about, I have always been sensitive to people's energies, and I can sort of straight away get a vibe from someone that like I don't like that, or I really like that. You know, you get that instant energy. But I haven't been doing meditation, but I just feel like there's something bigger calling in this kind of time. So it's really interesting that you're saying now that this process has opened you up to kind of another plane in terms of that spirituality. Like
I'll just send you my med. I'll send it to you. I just do it on YouTube. I'll send it to you. It's like 10 minutes a day.
Amazing.
But just on the David the Medium thing, because this is what I loved about when he jumped on your pod, because you were like, look, I'm not psychic. And he's like, yes, you are.
Yeah.
He's like, look at your vocation. Like, look at what you've done for a career. He's like, 100% you are. And so I think it's also like, and David, like he says, like everybody has this and it's about tapping into it. And I'm not, so like my partner is psychic. He just doesn't talk about it, and he'll probably kill me for mentioning it on the
oh my God. Need a reading, Matt.
Pot. I know. He's done mine, and I was like, brutal but great.
Oh my God, amazing.
He was like, listen, you're going to win an Emmy, you're going to be a TV actress, but you're not going to win an Oscar, so focus on TV. And I was like,
God.
Say less, sir. I'll march down to Grey's Anatomy tomorrow. I wouldn't call myself psychic, but I would say exactly what you just said about yourself. I feel very attuned to energy, and I think that's like an innately like feminine thing as well. Like we can feel like when stuff's off or iffy, and at the same time we can feel when things are aligned. That feels so like that's the reason why I act. I remember the first time, but early on in my training, I was putting a scene up from this Tennessee Williams play called Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, and I was working with this wonderful director. His name's Ian. And I remember we were just workshopping it, and all the students were sitting in the theater, and me and my scene partner were up on stage. And it was like all I could feel was electricity running through my veins.
Wow.
Like it was like I was like, oh, some acting spirit just moved through me then. And then and I remember all I could do was walk up to him after and hold my hand on my heart and say, thank you. I don't know what that was, but like, thank you. And he did the same thing. And he was like, and it was like a week before I moved to LA, and he's like, we're going to miss you. And to this day, every time I'm in Melbourne, I'll go and work with him and train with him. But I do think like intuition is something that you got to, the way you were saying, like lean into it. But I do think you've got to do the work so that your energy is, for lack of a better word, clear, like, and so that you've got access to otherwise everything's going to feel woo-woo and everything's going to feel lucky or unlucky, or like I'm really into numerology, and like sometimes I'll be like, oh, it's 4 energy today. It's not lucky for me. And Matt's like, you cannot live like that, my friend. So, you know, I think it's fun. I think it's like being really clear and intentional about it. But yeah, you can talk as woo-woo as you want to me. Like I'm trained in Reiki, crystal healing. Mate, I love it.
Love it. Love it. I take my kids, there's a crystal shop down the road here, and it's one of those amazing ones where you walk in and they're like, would you like a hot chocolate, boys? Would you like a chai? And they've got a beautiful courtyard out the back, so you can take a deck of cards or you can pick up one of the books, and it's like this tranquil, beautiful space, and you are just invited to like be in there for as long as you want and just immerse yourself. So my kids, like, you know, my middle son the other day, he's like looking at something, he's like, oh, Mum, this T-shirt really called me today. I'm going to wear this one. I'm like, oh, my God, even the language, you know, because I'm like, choose a crystal that really calls to you. Like you just, you know, there's no right or wrong. Just like feel around. So like they're kind of opening up to that a little bit. But I just think this ties in really beautifully with this courage to take the leap, because so often we get this intuition or this feeling that like there should be something else, or like you were saying, I'm in my backup career. That was not like a rational thought of like, oh, I'm doing the wrong thing. There would have been a feeling that came with that that's like, hang on, like there is something else here that I'm being pulled to. And so often we can ignore those signs and we can ignore our intuition in a good way and a bad way. And I think a lot of people do that, and they have these hidden talents or wants or dreams and just feel like I can't, like that's not for me, that's out of reach. So like what would be your advice to people who might be thinking like, you know, yeah, I've always wanted to write a book, but I couldn't write a book and wouldn't even know where to start. Like how would I? Or, you know, they've got something in the back of their mind, that little grain of something that they're just not feeling brave enough to take the leap and do.
I think if you've got that little grain of an idea or that little spark or that like what if I would do if nothing else mattered, you know, if money was no object, if I could move to anywhere in the world, I always look at it like a little flicker in your heart, like a little pilot light. And I think like one of our jobs as humans is to fan that pilot light and turn it into a wildfire and like just keep fanning it. Because like I can guarantee you people are going to try and blow that flame out and like snuff it out and people won't believe it. Like I don't want to sit here and be like, yeah, like just follow your dreams. It's peaches and cream. Like it's brutal. It is tough. It is, it can feel like people are disingenuous or, you know, like it can feel like they're a roadblock after roadblock after roadblock. And you don't know if those roadblocks are good things until you look back and you're kind of like, oh yeah, how lucky that thing didn't work out because it led me to this. Like we don't get to have the crystal ball and know that everything's going to be fine. But I do think like one of the barometers or one of the things that I use to kind of like navigate my way through this world is like I don't want to have regret on my deathbed. I know that sounds super morbid, but I don't want regret. So I make choices around mitigating regret. And like that's why we froze embryos, because we weren't sure if we wanted a family that was an animal family or a human family. We're like, we're either going to have a farm and live on a ranch or, you know, and so we decided to go down that route because it was all about mitigating, like having that regret insurance essentially. And so that then meant, okay, now we can just be like all in chasing our dreams. Matt's a composer and he's chasing his dreams and I'm here doing all the acting, and then when I'm not acting, I'm podcasting, and then I'm writing. Like we're just like 100% all in. And I think that that's what drives me is like I don't want regret. And I know it sounds kind of like negative, but I do think that if you sit with yourself and you journal, like what would I do if nothing else mattered? Like what would I be doing? And I used to do this as an exercise myself, and I'd always write, live in a tree house, date Matt Corby. That used to be my dream in my 20s.
Hilarious.
Probably should admit that one out loud.
So cute.
Anyway, like all these things, and then eventually I would like write ideas for TV shows and then write like goals for acting, and I was like, oh shivers, there's this whole other dream here that you've kind of not forgotten about, but you've just let it be on the back burner. And I don't want to say like, cool, you've got a dream, like pack up your life in beautiful Melbourne and jet. And because like, to be honest, like the first advice I give anybody that moves to LA is like, come here with savings, come here with money, because it's so, did you notice it was expensive?
Oh, so expensive.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I mean, down to the food, like your acai bowls, I'm sure they were like $30 Australian.
Yeah, insane. I had to stop converting. Every Uber was like $50 US to go like 3 kilometers. And I was just like, I'm just not even going to do the maths. Just going to.
Yeah. The golden rule they tell people when you come to America is you don't convert back. You think in American dollars and you live for what it is in American, and then that takes the sting out for sure. But I do think like I don't want to be like the dream is enough, because it's not. Yeah. You've got to have like a plan. And a friend of ours, we had a musician friend over for dinner the other night, and she's like, I actually think it's about survival. And I was like, fuck, that's deep. And kind of not like flowers and fairy dust and magical. That's kind of like, there is a saying in LA, the person that sits at the table the longest collects the chips. So it's like if you've got the ability and the resources to stay here long enough, you will book the job. But it's a long game as well. Your career usually takes longer than you think with that kind of stuff. Yeah.
And I think, like, yes, there's a few different places I want to go with that. But I think that's, one of the key things you need is that courage, first of all, to like find and be honest with yourself about what it is that maybe you'd like to pursue, and then having the courage to try it in some way. I mean, even with you just beginning to take acting classes and just kind of start there and see how that feels in your body and what that does for you. It's not like I'm dropping everything and I'm moving to LA, and then, having the grit to kind of stick through the hard things. I mean, even writing books, as you very well know, it's not like I always thought, oh, when I write my books, it's going to be like the fantasy. I'm going to be like in cafes and I'm going to find somewhere beautiful to write, and it's going to be this like romantic, beautiful, amazing thing. And it's a fucking slog, and it's a job, and it's boring, and it's painful rereading your own words 1,000 times, Yeah. It's just like any other job. So I think if you can kind of burst the bubble a little bit of, it's not all a fantasy, it is all work, maybe that makes it more realistic and more achievable, because it's like you can really do anything, but you just have to have all of those kind of things in place. Give it the energy it deserves, give it the permission it deserves, and then get out of your own way.
Oh, yeah. And if you can't like build the team around you, whether that's a therapist or a counselor, or like build the people around you, or like have a really brilliant accountability bud that can help you, because like our brains are like wired to like, like protect our ego and protect it. Like, and so the amount of times I've wanted to like throw the towel in LA is mental. Like, so
really?
Like it's because you'll just have, I remember I did an audition for Barbie, the movie, Barbie, the massive movie, and I had to, it was just for like a day play, a bit part, not like I would literally just be laying by a pool. And I had to, I remember I was living in this apartment in Los Feliz. I had to set my camera up, and I had to put a bikini on and just stand there and just do full 360, like just, and they just had to analyze my body. Yeah. And I was like, what? And just so you know, as an actor, once you submit an audition, if you don't get booked, you don't hear anything.
Shit.
So there's not even like, this is where I think Book World is a little bit kinder. Like usually if you submit a pitch in Book World, they're going to be like, thanks so much, doesn't fit our slate for this year, or thanks so much, not really what we're looking for. Like you do get a no. In acting world, every audition you hit send on, it's like bombs away. You never hear unless you book. Yeah.
Oh my God. So like how do you manage that in terms of like living on all this hope, right? And like building yourself up to have that creative energy and put that positive energy into the piece of work that you're doing and submitting, and then it's just gone. And like at what point do you give up on the job, you know?
Oh, the moment you hit send, you've got to let go. Like you can't think about it again. Like a lot of actors say your sides are your script. So they'll do the audition, give it their all, and if it's an in-person or a callback, they'll famously like scrunch the sides up and throw it in the bin.
Really?
Yeah, because you have to. That's one great thing about LA is you become so audition fit, because you'll get an audition. Like I'm recording this, it's 5 p.m. for me. If an audition comes in now, it'll be due at 10 a.m. tomorrow. So you don't even have time to learn it properly, right?
Okay.
And so you'll quickly, madly like write it out. I don't have a printer here, so if it's due tomorrow, I'm not going to get out and get it printed. Write it out like 3 or 4 times by rote, so like that I'm starting to like feel it. I'll move it around the space. Like I'll just walk around the house saying it. I'll know like if there's sticky lines that I can't get in right. If it's dialect work, like I need to be on an American dialect, then you're doing vocal exercise and stuff. And then you just put it up first thing in the morning, caffeinated because it takes energy. And then you literally are just like, cool, what's next? Like you're just focusing on the next. You can't attach to it at all, like even a tiny bit. I did an audition last week that I was like, ooh, this one feels that the stakes feel a bit higher. Like I was a little attached to it. Yeah. Same thing though. I've shot it about 6 times, which is a bit too much. You usually get it within 3 takes, but I was a bit more like, had a good feeling about it. But still hit send, haven't heard a word back. And I've just got to be like, if that's not meant for me, it's not meant for me. Like what's, you know, that saying, what's meant for you won't pass you. But yeah, in the acting world, it is brutal. So many, it's not even no's, it's just donuts.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that is brutal. And I think the other thing that's interesting about LA, and certainly my experience from the November trip and then the February trip, was that, you know, literally everybody there is on the make. Like everybody is there trying to grind and hustle and become something. So literally every Uber trip for me became exhausting, because it was some guy like trying to find out what I did, because not because they're just chit-chatting. They want to know if I'm somebody that could be of use to them in some way, and then telling me all about all of their things that they do. Oh, I'm a bodyguard for these people, or I'm a stuntman in these movies, and do you know this one, and do you know this one, and have you got Instagram, at like all like kind of forcefully get you to like add them on Instagram. And it's just like,
I need to teach you my ways.
Like it's seriously, I was like I feel so rude. I don't want to get in and be like, you know, so I'm either like, sorry, I've just got to do a couple of emails if you don't mind, just straight in and just be on the phone, you know. Otherwise it is literally like every single person telling me their hustle story. And like at first it was really interesting, and then it just became, oh my God, it was so taxing on my energy constantly. And like, you know, I'm in the gay bars with a friend, and every person, like he's a kind of well-known Bravo adjacent kind of person, and so he was kind of swarmed. There's always people around, and everyone's kind of looking at me like, who are you and what do you do? And they're like, oh, well, I do this and I do that. It's like this constant sort of one-upping, and who do you know, and do you know this person, and I'm friends with this person, and what have you done, and do you live here, and what, you know, it just like that started to really kind of weigh on me. There's like you sort of can't just walk around and just be normal. It's like everybody's trying to get somewhere. Yeah.
And that's where you'll learn the more time you spend here. And I love LA, like it is totally our home. But like it was a mentor friend that taught me this. He was like, there's so much fluff here. There is so much like hot air and fluff. And like as someone that values honesty and loyalty and the real deal stuff, like I struggle sometimes because I'm like, oh, fuck, this person just wants to pitch themselves to come on my
Yeah.
pod. Like you learn that pretty quick. Or
Yeah.
like it's usually that for me. Like I'll be just having a conversation and within minutes their like business card or their Insta is like,
Yep.
can I come on your pod? Or they'll be like kind of nasty until they look at your Instagram and then they're nice. And I'm just like, I can't. I will teach you my Uber trick.
Okay.
I get in with these bad boys, noise cancelling headphones, if people aren't watching this and they're listening to it. And I say, hey, I've just got to meditate, which I do. And I put these on and I put my sunglasses on and I meditate. And then as soon as the meditation's over, because as I said, it's only 10 minutes, I'll keep the headphones on, put my favorite music on, and it's great. And it changes the energy I use if I'm walking, like if I'm walking into a pod studio, if I'm walking into teaching yoga class, whatever it is. If I've done that, I can handle whatever I'm walking into so much better. So, yeah, you just go like, I'm going to meditate. Yeah, they never ask. As soon as you do that, they don't want to mess up your time. Yeah.
Amazing. Okay. Noted.
Steal it. Yeah. So good.
I love that. So, we've talked about some of the hard things about LA, but what have been some of like have you had any great Hollywood moments since you've been there?
Yeah, that's the thing. Right as you're about to throw the towel in, LA does this thing and like is like, hang on a sec. And there'll be these really beautiful moments, or like even just the other day, Boss and I were getting a coffee and we like both just went dead silent because Tom Hanks was standing right in front of us. Like there's a lot of that. Yesterday I was at Trader Joe's, which is kind of like a trendy Coles is the best way I can describe it to an Aussie listener. And my cashier was like, role model came through before you. And I was like, fuck, why didn't I see him?
Oh my God. Honestly. Yes.
Like, there's a lot of that.
You see some people at your local Air One, don't you? Like,
yeah, Scott Speedman we see there a bit. Yeah. Matt's good at spotting like a lot of musicians. There was some big musician there when we were there with Buds, but they weren't like music heads like him, so he kind of played it cool. But like I think the cool moments are like I shot a pilot last year and it was so much fun, but I was really nervous. And so because you understand the way nerves work, like because I was nervous, I didn't enjoy it, even though it was like this thing that I was so excited to do. Yeah. I couldn't, like I had dry mouth and I did the thing, like I'm in the pilot, like it's a fun scene. But every time I look at it, I'm like, oh, if I was relaxed, I could have just played with that scene so much more and had so much more fun with it. And so I was like, right, I'm going to get some exposure therapy. And so I just basically, there are all these casting websites in LA. This is literally the melting pot of Hollywood. And so I enrolled in this casting website that just cast background actors. And I was like, great, I can get on these big sets, like huge sets, get paid and see how it goes. Like, and essentially give myself exposure therapy so that when I'm acting and the pressure is on and the stakes are high and I need to know my marks and my eyeline, I'm used to this feeling of what it's like to be on a working set. And the first thing I booked was Grey's Anatomy. So that was really fun.
Amazing.
And I had to be like a worried mum pacing in front of an ambulance.
Oh.
And it was just cool because Grey's is shot on a huge soundstage and like it's huge to the point that a bell goes off that sounds like an alarm and a red light goes off so that you know it's recording. And it was just like a really great first ever background experience. And then the next one I did had like a fake name. Like they do that in LA. Like if you're shooting a TV show, they usually, apart from Grey's, everyone knows when you go to those studios, it's the Grey's Anatomy studios.
Okay.
Because they are shot there. Like that's what people go there for. But I was shooting for this Owen Wilson Apple TV show and it had a fake name. It's like, I don't know if I'm allowed to say. I think I can. You're just not allowed to post anything from it. But it had this fake name, but it's from his golfing show on Apple TV called Stick.
Oh, okay.
And we shot the last day of like I think season 2, and that was like a 15-hour day. Like and you're on these incredible golf course like this, but like crazy rich golf course in like Malibu. And so like you're just getting to experience, and they're doing like 16, 20 takes of the same thing. And so and this is where there's loads of background actors. So you're there with like 80 other background actors, or like the golf one was like 500 background actors. So you're getting to see like big budget, big network stuff. And so that was really exciting. And then I booked a indie feature. So indie means no budget, smaller budget. But I booked it. I did my audition, and that I booked straight away. That as soon as I sent my audition off, I was in Australia over Christmas. Within half an hour, they're like, "Hey, you got the role. Start learning the lines." So it was great.
Amazing.
That was amazing. That was like, and I put 2 auditions up, and they're like, when I sent it to them, I was like, I think this second character is stronger, and they're like, you're right. Literally, well done. This is your role. And I rocked up on that set so relaxed. Like it was the opposite.
Interesting.
And I had so much fun, and I felt like a clearer sense of like, yeah, I'm meant to be here. I belong here. Whereas when I shot the pilot, I was like, I'm not good enough to be here, you know?
Oh, wow. Yeah. So do you put that down to that exposure therapy, or just being in a better place in terms of, you know, where you were in your own journey personally?
I think that would be exposure therapy for sure. And I had a really long, clear time to work on the material as well. So I knew that if they changed the script on the day, and also the pilot, there were script changes on the day, and I'd never experienced that before. But the pilot taught me all of that, so that by the time I got on the next set and there were little tweaks and changes on the day, I was like, oh, I remember this from the pilot. And so in a sense, I probably was never going to skip that nervous first time ever.
Yeah.
And I probably learnt so much because of like that one time. But I do think the more reps you get under your belt, the better that you're going to get with everything in any career, not just acting.
Yeah. I love that. I love that, because how often do we do something really scary and it feels terrible and we never do it again? You know?
Yeah.
So you do the opposite. You run towards the fear and you're like, I'm just going to, throw me in. I'm going to do 10 times more of this until I feel okay, and then look at you now. So
we're getting there slowly.
You're getting there. This is amazing. This is amazing. So are you still going to do more of the background stuff and keep getting that experience?
Yeah, the cool thing about the way background work is, so in Australia it's super frowned upon by actors because we have a smaller pool of actors, and so if you do background work, you get the casting knows you as background. Whereas here, there's actors everywhere, and most actors, we can bring this back to Elvis actually, most actors start with background work, and the most famous actor right now that was known for doing so much background work is Austin Butler.
Right.
Same thing, like just wanted to learn what it was like. Brad Pitt did it. It's just like you're just doing it to like be on a set and getting to see the thing that you love. But the cool thing about background work is if you ever do work with Baz Luhrmann, he will often pick background actors out and be like, you come up front, you're going to say this line, and that
really?
Catapults people's careers. He's famous for doing that. And I remember when I lived in Australia, they were shooting Elvis, and I had reps, and they were like, we got to get you on Elvis. And I was like, you got to get me on Elvis. And they said straight away, they're like, Baz will literally handpick, and they turn you into from background, because basically there's a hierarchy, like call sheet wise, actor, and background is like bottom of the list.
Yeah.
But like Baz will quickly bump you up the list and be like, you become what's called a featured extra, and that's where you got lines, and then you get union status and way better pay. And so Baz is like known for it.
Amazing. Okay, how do we get you on the next Baz?
I know.
Then? I mean, we have been in the same room as him now. You know,
we're just one more degree. We need one more.
That's it. Exactly. Damn it! We should have thrown you up on the stage.
It's all good. I always think there's divine timing with that kind of stuff, but I'm just so glad we were there for that, because he is so kooky and I love it. He's so theatrical. Yeah. He was at the Met Gala last night and I was just watching. He's so fun to watch.
Amazing. I didn't see his outfit, but I'm sure it's amazing. Is it Elvis related? Did we see?
I just saw, so it was they were filming Zoe Kravitz, who looked amazing.
Okay.
And then it panned to Baz, and he was standing there like this waiting to say hi to her, but like in prayer hands. And I was like, this totally tracks for
God.
who you are, sir.
Yeah, totally. But you know what? As you say, everything happens for a reason. And maybe being in that room, the next time you see him or have an opportunity with him, you can say, hey, I was at the LA screening of Epic and,
So good. Yeah.
loved every minute. I
Yeah.
still need to go back and see it again, honestly.
Me too. I feel like we would both cry our eyes out, though, if I'm honest.
Oh, I was there with my friend Leanne, who you met, and her friend who, I'd only met that night. And I was just sitting there like riveted. I was like, it just completely in my own world. And I was high, and then I was like just moved, and then I was sobbing and sobbing and sobbing. And well, they were just looking at me like, are you okay? I'm like, I'm really not. I'm not okay.
Yeah, no, I feel all the feels. I feel all the feels. I'm with you on that one. I love crying in a movie. We saw this movie the other day, this Aussie movie, and Matt kept looking over at me, and I was just like a river. As soon as there's like grief in a movie, I'm like, no, you're about to break our hearts.
Seriously, grief or something beautiful. We love watching Love on the Spectrum.
Yeah.
And those stories, like, it's so heartwarming and it's so funny, and the families are divine, and they're just so earnest and genuine and such beautiful people. And you just know those families have been through so much, and they can now see their beautiful children as adults, like trying to find love. And, you hear some of the stories about what they went through, and it's so hard. But, it takes nothing. And both Chris and I are just sitting on the couch just like
yeah. I've had a couple of the Love on the Spectrum people on my pod. I've had Michael Theo. You should totally interview Michael Theo.
Love him.
But you know who you would love to chat to? I believe her name is Jodie Rogers, and she's the therapist.
I've had Jodie on the show.
Isn't she fantastic?
She's amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
She was great.
Yeah. Probably maybe around the same time that you were last on the pod. Anyway, she's fantastic.
Yeah, because she brings books out too. Yeah, that's how I got her. But yeah,
amazing.
You should maybe you should get Michael Theo. He's fantastic.
Yes,
he's a good in-person pod.
Yeah,
I really like him in person because he's really like, he loves, and you find out, like, I researched all of his passions beforehand, so.
Amazing.
Yeah, so like we had so much fun. I just felt like he was entertaining me the whole time, and I was like,
yeah.
And he was picking
just
up
a captive audience.
Yeah, and he was like, I would ask a question. He's like, you've kind of already asked that question before, Lola. And I'm like, oh, like it kind of made me like I had to pull my socks up,
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, sorry, I was just really enjoying just being in the room. Sorry.
Yeah. Very sweet
that's
song.
So funny. Oh my God. All right, so I think there's some good stuff here. I think most people can take away a few little messages here, which is give yourself permission to work out what the dream is if you don't already know. Run towards the fear. Feel the fear and do it anyway, which is, surely your, like, what's the thing where,
mantra.
like, your title? Mantra. Thank you.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid of the work that comes with it. And throw everything at the world. We only get one life this time around, and we might as well make the most of it.
100p, and get really clear on like trust your spidey senses, like trust your little like woo-woo-ness, I would say, because it's taken me effing yonks to really trust like how I feel when I'm, which makes sense why we've come back into each other's lives as well.
Yes,
you know what I mean? And
totally.
And I think like trust that, like when you meet someone and you feel like you can just be 100% yourself, warts and all, and that's cool. And I think that's rare. I would say like search for that realness and like let go of the flaky, fake, fluffy. And you don't need to like, I used to think, cut, bye.
Yeah.
It's not that. It's just like winding it back and like gently taking space and being mindful of like if you go for a coffee date, keep it no longer than an hour. Like just little things. It doesn't need to be like, I'm at war with everyone. It can be just like protecting your time a little bit more. I'm a very like black and white, like, oh no, they're done. And it never feels good ever. It's gotta be, I think you got to do it in your own time frame and on your own. I don't know. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, what you're saying is it doesn't need to be like a big confrontation. It can be just something you've made the decision in your mind that this relationship maybe isn't where you want to put all your energy, and that's okay. You just don't have to accept the invitation. You can not be available for that drink, and maybe eventually they'll get the message and you don't have to actually necessarily say you are not healthy for me. I mean, unless it's a situation
I was about to say.
Yeah.
It's time and a place. It is nice when you get to be like, I know I said I'm a Virgo, but I have Sagittarius rising, and there was a situation a couple of weeks ago and I felt really hurt. And when you feel really hurt and you know you're going to cry.
Yes.
And I was like, had to call out the behavior in the moment, and I could feel that the tears were coming, and I had this moment of like, no, this is honest. Like this is where it is for me right now, and I don't feel guilty for showing my emotion.
Yes.
And so sometimes I think my therapist says sometimes you need to give a like esoteric slap, like and just be like, hey, that behavior is kind of hurting me, and please stop,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Again, I think that's something we get better at the older we get. Yeah. But, I think also Gen Z are pretty good at I think they're doing a much better job than we did growing up.
Yeah, they
are. Of advocating for themselves, knowing their boundaries. They've got all the buzzwords. They know, green flags and red flags and what they will and won't put up with, where, some of us are just kind of figuring that out now.
Yeah, but that's also where society was, like in the 90s and early 2000s when we were kind of like figuring ourselves out. But I think you're right. I think you're right. Any of my like younger Gen Z friends are very clear about who they are and what they're willing to do and what they're not. They kind of own their things way more than we kind of like hide our things. Whereas they're like, no, this is who I am.
Yeah. Well, that's it. I mean, we were raised by boomers, they were not. So it's a different thing. It's a whole different thing.
What are your kids? What generation are they?
Well, I think they're Gen Alpha.
Yeah.
But I'm not entirely sure because I don't know if Gen Alpha is the ones that are turning into young adults now or if it's the kids, I need to look that up.
How long's the span, like 20-year span?
I don't know.
You and I can research that.
We'll look that up. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
But then, they're being raised by kind of cusp millennials that are like cusp Gen Xers. So,
No, you're full millennial, aren't you?
Well, I don't know. Born in 82. I think it's a cusp. So we're going to have to look that up too.
I get called an elder millennial and I'm like, you know what? I'll take it. I'll take it. Like whatever.
Yeah, I think we are elder millennials at least. But then I saw something that said we were sort of there's sort of like a cusp. There's a window of maybe like 80 to 82. That's like
I'm still millennial then. I'm 85, mate. I'm millennial through and through.
Wow,
you feel millennial to me.
Yeah, I think I probably am. I don't feel like a Gen Xer.
No, you're not. I know Gen Xers and you are not.
Yeah. No. Okay, we will figure these out. We will come back to you next week with the definition and the timelines and correct the wrongs that we have made today.
Yeah, 100%.
So, Lola, where can people follow you, listen to your pod, support your work, hit us with all the things?
Also, you've been on my pod recently.
I have.
Was that November? Yeah. We recorded it literally right behind here on that couch.
We did.
So I'll send you your episode too, just so you've got it in case your fans want to listen to it. But
Beautiful.
pod is called Fearlessly Failing with Lola Berry. It's my baby. I bring 3 episodes out a week. So one is a chat like this, one's a fun little hot seat, and then one's a diary about chasing dreams in LA.
Love
and
it.
then I love it. It's so much fun. I love podcasting. And then P.S. we need to talk offline because I found a great new LA pod space.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh,
I think
yes.
you're going to love.
Is this the North Hollywood one?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
It's really good.
Yes.
And then I'm a bit of an Insta gal, so yummo Lola Berry. And then, do you know what I did this week? You're going to be so proud of me. With the help of AI, I made my own website. I literally did it on my own.
Oh my God, that's incredible.
Yeah. So now I've got a fully functioning website.
Oh my God.
lolaberry.com.
Oh my God, amazing.
As of a week ago. I just was like, stuff it. I'm going to try and do it on my own. And it was,
That is amazing.
Because I interviewed all these tech guys in South by Southwest, and they were like, why are you not leaning into AI? And I was like, well, I'm an actor. Like, I'm a creative. I'm a writer. And they're like, yeah, but what about just for like life admin? And I was like, what about website? And they're like, 2 hours. You'll have one. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. So I challenged myself.
Just blows my mind.
I'll send it to you after this. Mind.
Oh my God, cannot wait. Yeah. Wow. Okay, I will put all the links in the show notes here. Make sure you subscribe to Lola's pod. You will love it. It is amazing. She has conversations with actors and people doing cool things, and, there's so much content. 3 episodes a week. That's amazing.
I'm doing a bravery expert next week.
Ooh.
If she's really good, I should send her to you. I feel like that's up your alley. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. And I won't ask you what's coming up next because we just know it's just all going to be great things. We're just going to put great things out into the universe.
We're working on some things behind the scenes.
Right? Yes. Love that. Yes. And if you are interested, Lola's got so many books. You can go back and order. There's so much. You're just like the content queen. You're a creative genius, my friend. Keep it up.
I think you and I just love being busy too. We love doing stuff and doing stuff that feels, I don't know, I love writing.
Yeah. And you know what? You're a bit of a manifestation queen. I'm just thinking about you journaling about like dating Matt Corby, and you did end up dating Matt the musician. In fact, you're engaged to him.
I did. And like I have a dream of acting on a Yellowstone like show, and he's composing on Marshalls right now, which is a Yellowstone spin-off. And so I was like, I feel like we manifested.
Totally. Okay, now we just got to like nail it into your Emmy Award winning role.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. That's next on the list.
Just fine-tune it a bit. Yeah.
It's been so nice to hang. Thank you so much.
You too. Cannot wait to see you again soon in sunny LA. And thank you for your time, my love.
Anytime.
Chat with you soon.